Okay, let's get started. For this deep dive, we're looking at a really interesting document. It's called Embracing the Illusion.pdf.
Yeah, that title alone definitely grabs you, doesn't it? Sets a pretty deep philosophical stage right away.
It really does. And the core idea it's wrestling with is huge in cosmic reality. And this pretty bold concept that maybe a lot of what we think of as life is,
Yeah.
well, not quite real.
Exactly. It frames it as an illusion, or it uses the term Maya. That's a term you see quite a bit in some philosophies, right? Often pointing to how the world we see isn't the full picture, maybe even deceptive.
Right. So what we want to do here for you is really unpack the main arguments from this specific document. Its central point seems to be this. Basically, everything between the moment you're born and the moment you die.
And it lists some really fundamental things.
Yeah, like losses and gains, even love and hate, fame, insignificance. It lumps them all together.
It says they're all part of this illusion, Maya.
And it doesn't just state that, it goes into the consequences. You know, what happens if you buy into these illusions versus, well, seeing them for what they are, supposedly.
Precisely. It makes some quite strong claims about where genuine happiness and fulfillment actually come from. It argues that understanding this illusion is key.
It connects that understanding to, like, tapping into a deeper reality, the sort of core essence of existence. That's a big promise. So let's pull out the key nuggets here for you.
Okay, so the document starts with this powerful, maybe even stark idea. You come in alone, you leave alone. And everything that happens in between. According to this source, it's fundamentally illusory, part of Maya.
And what strikes me is how broad that category is. You know, putting career success or failure on the same level as deep emotions or social status.
Yeah, it's deliberate. It's arguing that from, let's say, a cosmic viewpoint, none of these things have ultimate lasting substance. They just appear real to us.
So recognizing that, the document argues, is the big shift. That's the game changer.
It literally says embracing this fundamental truth is what allows you to live a genuine, peaceful life. It suggests that it's the people who really get the fleeting nature of worldly stuff.
The transient nature.
Right. The transient nature of worldly experiences. They are the ones who find what it calls true happiness and fulfillment.
Okay, but hold on. If it's all an illusion, what are the things that feel incredibly real? Our jobs, our families, our ambitions, the things we genuinely care about.
Well, the document addresses that. It talks about something called fleeting truths.
Fleeting truths. Okay, what does it mean by that?
That seems to be the source's way of describing our conventional values. You know, the importance we assign to success or possessions or relationships. They feel real. They are important in our daily lives.
Sure.
But the document is positioning them as temporary. Ultimately, kind of insubstantial when you zoom out to the big cosmic picture.
And the consequence of chasing only those things, according to this source anyway.
Yeah, the source argues that if you're constantly chasing these fleeting truths, you're always seeking, always striving, but maybe never quite finding that deep, lasting satisfaction. You get caught up.
Entangled. That's the word it uses, isn't it?
Exactly. Entangled in pursuing these temporary realities keeps you, it suggests, from seeing what's truly lasting. But conversely, it claims that embracing the impermanence of life helps us transcend illusions and connect with the deeper essence of existence.
So transcending here doesn't mean ignoring life or pretending things don't hurt.
No, not necessarily. It seems to mean seeing through the surface appearance. Understanding the temporary nature allows you to connect with something more fundamental, maybe what it calls ultimate reality or true consciousness.
Okay, so let's wrap this up then. Taking this deep dive into embracing the illusion, the core message we've pulled out is pretty clear, right?
Yeah, I think so. The experiences that usually define our lives, you know, between birth and death, they're presented here as transient, as illusions. Maya.
And the really potent claim the source makes is that understanding this, truly embracing it, well, it doesn't lead to nihilism or dismissing life.
No, quite the opposite, according to the document. It claims this understanding is actually the path to a genuinely peaceful, happy existence, because it helps you transcend those illusions.
Right.
And connect with that deeper essence it keeps mentioning.
It's definitely a challenging way to look at things, a provocative framework for our everyday lives.
Absolutely.
So, drawing directly from the perspective we've just explored in this document, here's a final thought for you to consider.
Mm-hmm.
If everything between birth and death really is an illusion, Maya, your daily struggles, yes, but also your biggest dreams, your relationships.
Mm.
If you entertain that possibility, just for a moment, what does that perspective potentially change about how you see your life right now?
Yeah. How just thinking about impermanence shift your focus, or maybe even your priorities.
Something to mull over.